Can I just step back, David? When you were in the rehab, did you find yourself changing, that you were now offering help to others? You said you were receiving help from people who were just ahead of you in the journey, but of course you were ahead of the journey, the people who were more recently joined up to the rehab. How did you feel about that change, and how fast did that change occur?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because when you from the very outset, even from the very first day when you're talking in group, your experiences are potentially helping everyone. And this is group therapy in the rehab. Your experiences are potentially helping everyone, either by reminding them what it was like in active addiction, or starting to reveal insights that you're getting that help other people, and of course they're doing the same to you. So I think from the outset you are helping other people. But
did you feel that? Did you feel you were?
Yeah, I think it's linked to the self-esteem thing. So when I began to feel that I was beginning to function more healthily as a human being and able to had some useful things to share, there's a sense of, it's about altruism, which I think is helpful. I mean, nothing's completely altruistic, but I think it's helpful when you feel you're contributing to someone else's recovery. So yeah, I mean, one of the things that had to happen in rehab was to dismantle this thin veneer that I was using both as a mask and a shield, which was the doctor identity. And at first I found it really hard to get let go of, because it had been my shield for such a long time. And it turns out, a lot of my self-esteem was wrapped up in it. And yet it was holding me back, because I was still thinking of myself as somehow more accomplished or more informed, when of course the reality was I wouldn't have been in a position I'd been. Knowledge does not protect you from addiction, I'm afraid. And my knowledge was pretty rudimentary to start with. So until I stopped being a doctor and started being a regular resident, a patient within the treatment system, I wasn't able to move forward. That was really useful. And then I had to learn this new identity as recovering person. So that was something that was just beginning to dawn on me, that such a concept might be useful. And then the thing you've talked about, which is the altruistic or useful quality of even an early recovery, of giving something back. And when I started to go to mutual aid groups, I was after I was discharged and became a group member, I would be both in the British Doctors and Dentists group and other mutual aid groups, be part of helping with the setting up of the meeting. Back in those days, there was still smoking going on in the groups, and so just putting out the ashtrays or serving tea or putting out the chairs. These were basic duties, but they felt useful contributions. This wasn't me as a doctor in a professional setting. This was me as a fellow recovering person in a community of people that were recovering. So there was these two things were important: the self-identity of recovering person, and the identity as being part of a community of recovering people. And then I discovered that outside the mutual aid groups, there's also recovery communities. I mean, you and I really got to know each other properly through Wired In. It was a community for recovering people online. And I was discovering that there were other things outside of mutual aid and treatment that were also part of become part of a recovery identity. I suppose the other thing that might related to your question about helping others is starting to write about recovery when I felt confident enough to do that. I was putting my experiences out there, albeit under a pseudonym at that time, because I still felt very vulnerable. That I was starting to try to make a difference to other people, because I thought if other people going through the treatment system had the same experience of me, which is hugely medical, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but at the expense of the social part of recovery, then I need to try to make a difference to this.